Hippies trespass on my land and call me an animal killer, so I make a barbed wire trap to catch them. Here's what happened. Subscribe to Am I the Jerk on YouTube and hit the bell for notifications. We've had issues with trespassers on our land, and my friend said I should post how I've dealt with them years prior. Some background first. I live in a small town in the Midwest. People keep to themselves, and it's quite rare to have any spats with locals. The only instance of confrontation that comes to mind are people not from my country or state. I should also note there's a university not far from my land, so it's not uncommon to see non-locals. Generally, they keep to themselves and steer clear of the locals. That is, until two jerks from the university came to visit. I would describe myself as an outdoorsman. I love to fish, hunt, camp, hike, things like that. So it follows I do some of these activities on my land. I have a few ponds and forest which I conduct a lot of hunting on, mostly waterfowl and deer. I have a permanent duck blind on one pond and a deer stand adjacent to my forest, both somewhat visible from the road. There's heaps of farmland around my area, not much public land to recreate with. Naturally, people will go to many lengths to recreate on my land, either legally or illegally. It was late September or early October, and I was out scouting for waterfowl on one of my ponds. When I came up to the property, I noticed a Subaru Outback pulled off to the side of the road, onto my land. If I had recognized the vehicle, it wouldn't have raised an alarm, but I didn't, and the Outback had California plates. I stepped out of my vehicle to investigate. It was vacant. Then I smelled it. Smoke. Something was burning and it was coming from my forest. I grabbed a shovel and ran towards it. When I got to my forest, I could also hear some crappy music playing. There I saw the two jerks. They had pitched a tent and had a campfire going. I was left speechless. How could these guys have the gall to trespass? Anyway, I approached them and none of them noticed. I turned off their music and they all looked at me in disbelief. There was silence, then the jerk spoke.
Hey man, why'd you do that? You really killed our vibe.
Yeah dude, get lost.
Hello, please vacate ASAP.
Why? This is private land. You need permission from the landowner to be here.
Can we have permission?
No.
Why?
I use this land for hunting. Now screw off.
You're a murderer, killing defenseless animals?
I really don't give a crap, bud. Now vacate before I have your Subaru towed. This must have finally gotten through to them, as they packed up and I escorted them off my land. Before I left, Jerk 1 remarks,
"We will return and we'll stop your senseless killing,"
and things like that. I laughed and told them good day, and assessed the damage they'd done. The jerks had cut down several trees. Why they didn't use the dead ones, I have no idea. I found empty beer cans and a single roach on a tree stump. I hate substance abuse. The roach really ticked me off. And what they said earlier about coming back and off-roading sparked an idea in my brain. I knew what area he was referring to. My buds and I have off-roaded there before, so I prepared the area for the jerk. I wanted to plant native prairie grass where we off-roaded, so I stalked about 200 meters of barbed wire where I intended to plant the grass at a later time. I pretty much left it at that, and the next few weeks were uneventful. It was late October and I was in my duck blind one afternoon. Shot my limit of pheasants in the morning, so I figured I could pick off a few ducks with some buds. A flock of geese landed in our decoys, but we didn't shoot them. We watched them for a bit, and then we heard loud music from an oncoming car. It was the jerks. I watched as they drove through my land and headed for the off-roading area. I informed my buddies of my prairie grass project, and we all began laughing when they entered the barbed wire area. It should also be noted their music scared the geese away. A minute or so passed and we couldn't hear the engine running. We left the blind to investigate. What we came upon was a thing of beauty. Most, if not all, the barbed wire was gone, mangled in the Subaru's axles. Jerk 1 is freaking out, and Jerk 2 is assessing the damage. When we came up on them, Jerk 1 started yelling at me, saying he would sue me for damages to his vehicle. I laughed and told him to get off my property before I call law enforcement. He laughed and said I should. I did, 2 to be exact. I called our local conservation officer and the sheriff. I told the sheriff I had trespassers that refused to leave. I told the CEO I had non-hunters harassing hunters and wild game. He got quite excited after hearing that and told me he'd be there within the hour. 10 minutes passed and the sheriff shows up. I let the jerks explain themselves. They said I had given them permission and I destroyed their car. The sheriff looks at them, then asks me if they have permission. I say no, and that I suspect they're under the influence of something, as no logical person would drive through barbed wire. The sheriff asked why I thought that. I said last time they trespassed, they left empties and a roach. His eyes gleamed, and he told the two jerks to empty their pockets and that he would search the car. What happened next was hilarious. There wasn't anything in their car. Jerk 1 had nothing in his pockets, but Jerk 2 started crying. He had something on him. So, in addition to trespassing, the two jerks were charged with possessing illegal substances. The sheriff then told the two they had to figure out how to get their vehicle off my land. He offered to give them a ride back to the university so they could sort it out. Then, the CEO arrives at the perfect time. I told him they had trespassed, and in doing so, harassed hunters. Hunter harassment laws are open to interpretation in my state, but given the situation, the CEO issued both of them tickets for harassing hunters. That's a misdemeanor and over $5,000 in fines. I also mentioned they cut down trees on my land. Jerk 2 says that it wasn't him and that it was Jerk 1. So Jerk 1 is also charged with destroying property. We're laughing our butts off as the sheriff takes them away. I didn't hear from the jerks for a few days. Then I got a letter in the mail. It was from Jerk 1. He was asking for written permission to retrieve his vehicle from my land. He gave me his number to contact him so we could sort it out. The call went something like this. Hello? I read you want permission to retrieve your vehicle from my land. Yes. Permission denied. You can have someone on your behalf retrieve it for you. What? There's a towing service you can call. You're not to set foot on my land.
Screw you, man.
Have a nice day. The next day, I get a call from the towing service, asking if they can go back there and retrieve the Subaru. I say yes, but that Jerk 1 can't set foot on my land. He agrees, and I take him to where the mangled Subaru is. It took about 2 hours for him to pull the Subaru out from its barbed wire bed. This made Jerk 1 quite mad. He told the driver to hurry up, which ticked him off. When he got the Subaru to the road, Jerk 1 started cussing him out. The driver told him, "You know what? I won't charge you for this." He detached the Subaru and left it on the road and drove off. At this point, I'm laughing like a madman and told Jerk 1 to have a nice day. His car turned on but wouldn't budge. He was getting really flustered and had a meltdown. He called Jerk 2 to pick him up. I stayed there to make sure they didn't do anything else. As he was leaving, Jerk 1 spat on my car. They left the Subaru on the road. When they were gone, I called law enforcement one last time and said someone was illegally parked on a road. I gave them the location, and an hour later, they were towing the car away. I never heard from the jerks again. Don't screw with a man's land. Yeah, I mean, if everything's fenced off and it's very clearly private property, you can't just go in there and do what you want. Cutting down trees, starting a fire, and camping and things like that are all potentially very dangerous. If anything goes wrong, the property owner is the one that's responsible, and the one who has to deal with the repercussions if you start a fire or something. I will say it sounds like our original poster enjoyed this maybe a little too much, but these kids had it coming. Sounds like they were a couple little punks who didn't want to be told what to do. Our poster definitely saw this as an opportunity to teach them a lesson about life, and wasn't gonna show them any mercy. You can submit your own stories to be featured here on the channel. The story submission link is in the description below. And if you want to listen to some vibey music in the background, check out easymode, also linked below. And don't forget to subscribe. Entitled jerk refuses to wait in the phone queue and ends up wasting way more time than he needed to. I work in a high-volume private practice medical setting with a job title that has me doing a mix of clinical and administrative work. This particular night, the front desk was short-staffed, and I was asked to help cover until the phones turned off at 5 p.m. We were getting a barrage of phone calls, which meant I was answering the phone mostly by picking it up, instructing the person to hold for the next available staff member, placing them on hold, and then picking calls back up in the order they were received. Simple. Simple until a patient who's always abrasive and rude, Mr. Patient, calls. Thank you for calling Place of Specialty. This is Original Poster speaking. How may I help you?
My insurance has changed to out-of-state Medicaid. Does Dr. Person accept that?
As far as I'm aware, we can't accept Medicaid plans from other states. You do have the option to pay out of pocket for visits. Let me transfer you to billing to have them take a look, okay?
Fine.
I put him on hold and pop back to the billing coordinator, who's one room over, and explain the situation. I ask her to pick up his line. She says she's finishing up with another client but can get to him in a minute or so. Before she can pick him up, he hangs up. Okay, whatever. I go back up to the front and the phones are still ringing like mad. I go to answer the next call and see it's Mr. Patient again. All 3 of my lines are ringing, so I just do what I'm supposed to do. Answer, tell him to hold, and put him on hold so I can work through everyone in order. He's at the top of the line, so no biggie. I can pick him back up in about 15 seconds. Except he hangs up again, and then calls back again. I see what he's trying to do, and I'm immediately annoyed. He wants instantaneous attention, and in the process is prolonging my ability to help him and is tying up my lines. Refusing to give in, I pick him up, greet him, and immediately put him on hold. I start helping my other callers and he hangs up and calls back again. I continue to work down the line of held calls and assist them, pausing in between to answer his calls and put him back on hold. We repeat this cycle no less than 7 times, until finally I pick up the phone and he shrieks,
"Do not put me on hold!"
Defeated, I relent. At this point, I could have assisted him several times over had he not been so ridiculous. And now I just want him gone. How can I help you?
I just changed insurance and I just need to find out if you accept it.
Absolutely. We can check for you. Would you like to speak with the billing coordinator?
Yes, I want you to go get her.
Sure thing. I'll go get her for you. One moment, okay?
Okay.
And with that, I gleefully reach down and put the jerk on hold. I don't know what to tell you, buddy. Sometimes they've got a lot of phone calls and you gotta wait in line. I'm one of those people that if I've been on hold for like 2 hours, I'm afraid to hang up. You don't want to be put back at the beginning of that line, but there have been times where I've gotten fed up and called back and gotten immediate service. So I don't know what to tell you. Either way, you got to assume 99% of the time that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're transferring you. They're looking for whatever they need to look for. You just gotta be patient. You're only making the situation more annoying for yourself by doing what you're doing. Karen thinks I'm gonna give her my laptop just because she asks. No. So I work in IT, web dev stuff, so I know my way around a PC, and my neighbors know this. About a week or so ago, one of them comes to my door and says they bought a laptop but it wasn't starting up. I told her that I don't really know laptop hardware, and only open up PCs so I can look. If something's wrong with the software, I can probably fix it, but if it's hardware, then she would need to go to a shop. I invite Karen to enter because I want to get it over with instantly and not have to go drop the laptop off at her house. I turn it on and nothing. Not even a light. Nothing works. The charging light is on, but the laptop is dead. I told her she'd have to go to a shop because this isn't a software issue. She mumbles but leaves without saying thanks, which I didn't really care. I just wanted my peace and quiet. Then yesterday the doorbell rings, I open it, and there she is, with the laptop in hand. I'll paraphrase the conversation.
I just got back from the store. They said the motherboard's dead.
Sorry to hear that. It's a shame you can't get a
No, I wanted to ask about your laptops.
Okay, what about mine?
Well, can you give me one of them? I need it for my kids, and they don't have anything to play on.
No, I can't give you a laptop because that's my work laptop, bought and paid for from the company I work at. It's not mine.
Oh, come on. Just tell them you lost it or someone stole it.
I would get fired if that happened. I really would. Sensitive information is on that laptop.
Well, the other one?
That's my wife's laptop.
Give me that one. It's perfect for me.
At this point, I was fuming, but this person is a close neighbor and friend to my mom. I can't give you my wife's laptop. She bought it. It's hers. Go return the laptop from where you bought it.
They won't refund me. They say it's my fault for not checking it before buying it.
Mind you, she bought it secondhand. Well, yes, it's your fault. I have to go, but good luck with that. I slammed the door while she started to talk again, but I really didn't have time to deal with Karen's crazy today. Why would this lady think you would just give her your laptop? She clearly knows how expensive they are because she doesn't want to go buy one herself. People don't just give you expensive things because you want them. That's not how life works. I wish it was, though. Seriously, though, beyond just asking for someone's personal property, she's asking our original poster to put their job at risk. For you? I'm sorry, no. Karen doesn't want to pay me for the work I did on her lawn, so I figure the best way to get back at her is to work a little harder. Okay, so some backstory. I was 13 and I lived in a really fancy neighborhood, and every year we had a best lawn competition. The prize for the winner is a $500 check. Some of my neighbors are really nice, but some are rich snobs. So I was managing my parents' flower garden and I worked really hard for about 2 hours. And when I finished, it looked really good. Karen was walking her dog and spotted me admiring my work. Karen is generally a jerk to everyone, so I wanted to avoid conversation. But she called out to me and the conversation went as follows. Wow, you did all this work? Yeah, I was out here working for the lawn competition. You did a great job. Do you think you could do my lawn? If you pay me by the hour, I'll be happy to work. Ugh, why do I have to pay? Because I'm helping you compete against me. I want some profit out of it. Okay, fine, $10 an hour. So the next day, I do her very weedy lawn, and I think I did a pretty good job. I pick up every single one of her weeds, I cut the grass, and I even buy some flowers for the patches of dirt where large weeds used to be. After 4 hours of work, I knock on Karen's door to let her see the work, thinking she would be impressed. I was very wrong. Ew, what's this? What? The grass is the wrong color. The grass is green. What color is it supposed to be? Orangish. I want my lawn to have fall colors, which I'm pretty sure is a made-up excuse. You didn't say that. You should have known. Now get out of here. You ruined my lawn. I'm not paying you. Wait, what? Karen walks into her house and slams the door. I go home and start to plan my revenge. Around the neighborhood, I hear Karen bragging about her perfect lawn. About a week later, I stay up until midnight. I go to a compost pile behind my house and gather up all the weeds I tossed from my own garden. I go to Karen's house and spend another hour kicking up her flowers, adding bug bait, and replanting the weeds in her yard. That morning was the morning of the competition. By the morning, her garden had some bugs and looked like the house was abandoned. It was worth all the work to see Karen's face in the morning. Imagine a toddler who just saw his favorite teddy bear get ripped to shreds. We didn't win the competition, but Karen came in last and was humiliated. Karen knew it was me and tried to get me in trouble, but I asked her if she had proof. I also told the whole neighborhood about the situation, so the other neighbors began to dislike her. Karen never spoke to me again and eventually moved away, maybe because of the humiliation. Trust me, rich people care about lawns very much. There's so much that bugs me with this story. For one, based on how the original poster's telling the story, we can assume that Karen here is pretty well off. It sounds like our poster put in quite a bit of work and did it all in 4 hours. She also really lowballed him at $10 an hour and is still not willing to pay. That's $40 for a competition-level lawn. That sounds like a pretty good deal to me, but I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I'm not exactly in the innermost circles of lawn competitions, but the final line from our poster is 100% true. When you have a really nice property like that, you care about how the lawn looks. You would think paying $40 to have it look really good wouldn't be that big an issue for you. I guess Karen just wanted to have her cake and eat it too. Too bad she didn't count on our original poster putting in a little bit of extra work. Karen insists I move my car because she refuses to ever back hers up. It was a little before Christmas a number of years ago at a very, very busy shopping center. I had just pulled into a parking spot I had spent ages finding. I get out of my car and start walking in when I'm summoned by an older woman. She's perhaps 65 or 70, but has the stereotypical lacquered hairdo and extensive makeup. She has a couple of bags in hand and is standing behind the Mercedes in front of my car. "Move your car out of my way, I'm leaving now." "You have plenty of room to back out of your spot." "I don't back up. So move your car, now! If you'd like a hand reversing out, I can certainly spot you. Are you deaf, you idiot? I don't back up, and I don't have to. You have to let me drive straight through. I'm not going to tell you again. Well, I'm glad you're not telling me again because I'm tired of hearing it. You're trapping me here because I don't know how to back up. I'm calling the police if you don't move right now, you jerk. Now, I enjoy old people swearing as much as the next fellow, but I just didn't have time. I was burning daylight and my shopping wasn't going to do itself. I wished her well and went inside. I wish there was a better ending, but when I got back to my car about a half hour later, her Mercedes was still there, and she was nowhere to be found. Some say her ghost still prowls the parking lot, moving forward, ever forward. How did this lady get a driver's license if she doesn't know how to back up? Like, that's one of the most basic driving skills you need. I don't know what to tell you. It's not on our original poster to give in to you. You need to learn how to drive, lady. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. Put the playlist on in the background to finish listening to all the stories. Or if you want some vibey music to put on in the background, check out easymode. If you like Am I the Jerk, give Am I the Genius a shot. Everything linked in the description.